My crazy mother-in-law tried to sabotage my food at my baby shower because she's upset I'm giving birth the same month she's getting married. I'll get straight to the point. My MIL and I don't have a good relationship. We've never had one, as she has always been rude to me right from the start. Now, you might be thinking that she acts this way because she's overprotective of her son, right? Well, no. She's like this because she doesn't like the fact that I'm a good wife to her son. For context, my husband Rick had a very rough childhood with my MIL. You see, MIL is the kind of woman who never believed in marriage, so she was constantly dating random men. Even when she did get married twice, both marriages were complete disasters. Rick is her oldest child from her first marriage, and he's told me that his parents were extremely toxic together, sometimes even having physical fights, which he unfortunately witnessed. Emile has always been an alcoholic, and she would often spend hours drinking, forgetting to feed Rick. His biological dad was no better. As a result, Rick was forced to step up and take care of himself from a very young age. When Rick's dad left, Emile started using drugs, and Rick had to take care of her as well to ensure she didn't end up dead on the streets. When it was time for him to go to college, he'd had enough of Emile and immediately moved to his dorm to start fresh. Emile tried to guilt-trip him, saying he had abandoned her. She also forced him to give her part of his wages from his part-time jobs. Rick, feeling guilty about the only parent he had left, gave in to her demands. In his third year of college, Emile married again and had a daughter named Susan. Knowing the kind of mother she was, Rick was always gentle and kind to his stepsister. It's impressive how close Rick and Susan remain even today. Once Emile remarried, she stopped asking Rick for money as her new husband fulfilled her needs, and she got busy raising Susan. When Rick joined his first job at our company, he met me. I'm a year older than him and his senior at work. From our very first meeting, I noticed how attractive he was, but being a professional, I didn't think about crossing the line. 8 months later, Rick finally confessed that he'd always had a crush on me, and we went on our first date. Once we realized how serious we were about each other, we disclosed our relationship to HR. Fortunately, our company doesn't have strict policies against coworkers dating as long as it's reported. Rick has always told me that my coming into his life changed him for the better. I don't know how true that is, but I do know that after I came into his life, I noticed how much control his mother had over him. She wasted no opportunity to gaslight him and paint herself as the innocent victim whenever they had a disagreement. She would put him down by saying he was just like his father, which hurt Rick deeply, as his father had abandoned them. With my encouragement, Rick set healthier boundaries with his mother. Rick loves to brag about me, which sometimes embarrasses me, but is one of his best qualities. Whenever he spoke to his mom, he'd tell her how happy I made him and how much better his life was with me. I believe this is when Emile started resenting me. Rick would mention how much happier he was now, which Emile couldn't stand. She'd try to gaslight him, saying she had sacrificed so much for him. Rick would respond by saying he had sacrificed his childhood to take care of her while she drank and did drugs. Emile hated hearing this, insisting the past should remain in the past. One night, when Rick and I were living together, Emile showed up at our doorstep crying. She told us she couldn't live with her husband anymore because she had cheated on him with a stranger at a bar. The stranger found out she was married and messaged her husband to apologize, which led to Emile being kicked out. She begged Rick to let her stay. Rick told her this was her fault and that she should apologize to her husband, but she refused, claiming she didn't need him because she had Rick to take care of her. I privately told Rick that Emile couldn't stay with us for long. Thankfully, he agreed. We let her stay for a week, during which she did nothing around the house. She left dirty dishes and laundry everywhere, expected me to clean up after her, and criticized me for ordering takeout when I was too tired to cook. She even smoked in the kitchen and left cigarette butts for me to clean up. Living with her was a nightmare. After a week, Rick asked her to leave, but she exploded, accusing him of being disrespectful. I told her calmly that this was our home, not hers, and she had overstayed her welcome. Rick backed me up, telling her she should apologize to her husband or stay with her sister. Emile screamed at Rick, calling him ungrateful, but he firmly stood his ground. She left the next day to live with Susan. This incident worsened our relationship with Emile, but I have never regretted standing up to her. This incident solidified Emile's animosity toward me. When Rick and I got married, she warned him that he would regret marrying a woman like me and that he should find a more homely, wife who could take care of the house. The irony wasn't lost on me, considering she was far from being a traditional or nurturing wife herself. She protested by not attending our wedding, but honestly, no one cared. We had the best time of our lives regardless of her absence. Now, on to the main incident. I'm 3 months pregnant. Rick and I hadn't informed anyone because I'd previously had a miscarriage. It took us a long time to conceive again, so we were cautious and didn't want to announce the news prematurely. Now that we were out of the danger zone, we felt it was the right time to share the news. We planned a small gathering at our home and invited close family and friends. Rick wanted his mother to be present, and I agreed because, despite our rocky relationship, I wanted our child to be loved by everyone. As guests arrived, they noticed my belly and congratulated us with joy. It was heartwarming to see everyone so happy for us. Then the doorbell rang and Emile arrived. To our surprise, she walked in arm with a man and introduced him as her fiancé. She announced that they were getting married in a few months. Rick and I were shocked that she hadn't informed us earlier, but chose to remain polite and congratulated her. However, when Emile noticed my belly, her smile disappeared. She loudly asked if I was pregnant. I nodded, and the room erupted in congratulations and excitement. Emile, however, turned red with anger and asked Rick why he hadn't informed her earlier. Rick joked that she hadn't informed us about her fiancé either. Emile was not amused. She claimed she should have been the first to know about her future grandchild. I calmly explained that we had waited until we were sure the pregnancy was safe due to our past miscarriage. I reminded her that we had gathered everyone to celebrate the good news together. Still, she wasn't satisfied. She complained that since I was due to give birth in the same month as her wedding, she would have to rush the wedding planning to avoid being called a grandmother at her own wedding. Her reasoning was absurd, and I couldn't help but roll my eyes at her misplaced priorities. Trying to keep the peace, Rick and I let it go and focused on our guests. Later, as we prepared lunch, Rick and my parents insisted I rest while they served the food. Emile, perhaps trying to appear helpful in front of her fiancé, offered to bring me a plate. I was taken aback by her sudden change in behavior, but accepted her gesture politely. When she handed me the plate, she loudly announced that she had chosen more vegetables for me to ensure a healthy baby. Everyone praised her thoughtfulness, but I couldn't shake my suspicion. This kind gesture was completely uncharacteristic of her. To be safe, I quietly exchanged my plate with hers when she wasn't looking. As we all began eating, Emile took a bite of her food, chewed slowly, and immediately spat it out. She started coughing and excused herself to the bathroom. Everyone was confused, but I quickly whispered to Rick that we needed to talk. I told him about exchanging the plates and my suspicion that she had tampered with my food. Rick was furious. He stormed into the house and confronted Emile's fiancé, who confirmed he'd noticed the plate swap but hadn't said anything. When Emile returned, Rick confronted her in front of everyone, asking if she had done something to my food. She denied it, acting innocent. Rick warned her that if she didn't confess, he would call the police. Under pressure, Emile finally admitted that she had added a large amount of salt to my salad as a harmless prank. I was horrified and demanded to know why she would do such a thing. She dismissed it as a joke, claiming salt wouldn't harm me and that I'd probably just throw up, so it wasn't a big deal. Her callousness enraged Rick. He shouted at her, calling her actions insane and unacceptable. My mother, who had been silently observing, finally lost her patience and angrily told Emile off. She demanded that Emile leave immediately and declared that she was no longer welcome near me or my child. Rick supported my mother, firmly escorting Emile and her fiancé out of the house. The atmosphere was tense, and our joyful gathering was dampened by Emile's immaturity. However, our friends and family rallied around us, offering their support and helping us salvage what was left of the date. Since then, Rick and I have decided to cut Emile out of our lives completely. After what she did, it's clear that something is inherently wrong with her, and we can't risk our safety or our baby's well-being by allowing her to disrupt our lives. Update 1. Thank you all for your support. To those asking why we even feel guilty about cutting her off, it's because Rick has never had a healthy relationship with a parent. While their relationship has always been toxic, it's not easy for a child to cut off a parent completely, no matter how difficult they are. However, Rick seems firm in his decision this time, knowing it's for the health of our baby. I don't want him to have regrets, which is why I've sought unbiased opinions. He plans to talk to her one last time without me present. I'll update you soon. Update 2. It's been a month since my last update, and unfortunately, things haven't been going well regarding our decision to cut off MIL. After Rick had a final conversation with her, where they had a massive argument, she began showing up at our house unannounced. She mostly does this on weekdays, knowing Rick is at work and I'm home alone. Thankfully, we have cameras installed, so I never open the door for her. Her visits are unsettling. She brings chocolates or flowers and leaves them on the porch, but I never touch them because I'm paranoid she might have tampered with them. Rick throws them away as soon as he gets home. The constant anxiety of her looming presence has been taking a toll on my mental well-being. My parents, especially my mother, are worried and visit me frequently to ensure I'm not alone for too long. We're hoping MIL will eventually give up. She's blocked on our phones, and we don't engage with her attempts to contact us. For now, I'm focusing on staying healthy for the baby and trying to find peace amid all this chaos. Update 3. Hey everyone, thank you for your continued support and patience. I'm sorry for the delay in updates, but things have been hectic. I finally have a significant update to share. As you know, MIL had been persistently showing up at our house despite being told she wasn't welcome. A few weeks ago, after multiple attempts to contact us, she left a letter in our mailbox. I hesitated to open it, half expecting it to be manipulative or filled with guilt-tripping. To my surprise, it was a formal apology. In the letter, MIL expressed regret for her past actions and acknowledged the harm she had caused. She promised to respect our decision and give us the space we needed, stating she would not contact us again unless we were ready. I was shocked by her words. It turns out she recently got married, which happened much faster than expected. Perhaps this new chapter in her life is prompting her to reflect and change. I showed the letter to Rick, who confirmed it was in her handwriting. While part of me wants to believe in her sincerity, for the sake of our safety, we've decided to continue keeping our distance. Rick and I are now fully focused on preparing for the arrival of our child. We hope to provide a peaceful and stress-free environment for our growing family. Update 4. It's been a few months, and I'm thrilled to share that our baby has arrived. Rick and I are over the moon with joy, and our little one has brought so much happiness into our lives. The experience of becoming parents has been life-changing, and we're cherishing every moment. As for MIL, she hasn't tried to contact us again since her letter, and we're grateful for the peace. We've chosen not to respond to her letter for now, as we need to prioritize our family's well-being. Perhaps someday, if she proves her sincerity over time, we might reconsider limited contact under strict boundaries. But for now, we're focused on this new chapter of our lives. Thank you to everyone who has supported us through this journey. Your encouragement and advice have meant so much to us. We're finally in a place where we can breathe easy and enjoy our lives as a family.